news from the Fox 59 newsroom.
Interrupting programming now for a breaking news update on the Delphi double murders case. Just in moments ago, we now know the defense counsel for Richard Allen has been withdrawn from this case.
This is a major development that has just happened within the last few minutes in the courthouse in Fort Wayne. Judge Fran Gull presiding over what was supposed to be a rather lengthy hearing today, addressing several issues in the case. That hearing was delayed. Then she came out just a few moments ago to say that the defense counsel has now been withdrawn. Some really big developments to go through here today, and we want to bring in Judge Dan Henke, who's with the Fishers City Court. He's been in Fishers since 2012, and before that served as a chief deputy prosecutor in Hamilton County. He was here to watch this hearing with us throughout the afternoon. We were going to be broadcasting it on a 30-minute delay.
But now we're in recess. There is nothing left. 3 minutes.
Right. Really, it was quick and lengthy and significant, the news we just got in court.
Yes, I think it's something of a surprise that defense counsel chose to withdraw. I know that the purpose of the hearing, or at least part of it, was probably going to be to determine how the judge would proceed with allegations that some of the evidence had been leaked, and presumably from defense counsel, whether deliberately or inadvertently. But I think that was going to be one of the main issues of this case, along with, if there wasn't going to be any change of counsel, there were a number of other issues that they still have to discuss and that are still outstanding. But this really puts everything on hold right now.
And in fact, the part of the hearing today could very well have been to address those leaks. As you mentioned, Allen's now former attorney had his own legal representation, as we learned in a filing earlier today. And this leak, as you mentioned, was probably going to be a big part of this hearing that never ended up happening. We do have some other video and pictures to show you about this case and things that we've been waiting to cover that we can show you as we continue to discuss today's developments. But this is no doubt for the families of these two girls who were murdered in Delphi in 2017, certainly a difficult development to discover today, because Judge, in all likelihood, this only backs up the entire process now, and perhaps significantly.
I think that there's no way that it doesn't back up the process. You've got what's going to be at least 2 new attorneys appointed.
Who have to catch up on this entire
case. And they have
case.
to catch up.
It's been a year since he's been arrested nearly, so.
And from the filings in the case, the amount of discovery and information that the state has already turned over is fairly significant. They'll have to review that, while the previous defense counsel had laid out some filings and pleadings of a defense strategy that there is a pending motion to suppress evidence on. Defense counsel not only has, the new defense counsel not only has to review the facts and the evidence, but now they have to evaluate whether or not they want to proceed with the previous strategy or whether they want to change strategy. So even though Judge Gull's indicated that she's going to leave the hearing on for October 31st, I doubt that that's going to be a hearing of much substance. That will probably turn into a status hearing. I would anticipate that she will appoint replacement counsel prior to that date, or at least attempt to do so. And at that date, on the October 31st hearing, we're going to discuss how we're going to proceed forward, and that's going to include new dates for any pretrial hearings and trial.
There's a couple of things we do want to circle back on with you, especially that discovery and what it would mean for his case, as well as he now gets that new counsel. But before we do that with you, Judge, we do want to see if we can get out to Russ McQuaid, who's been live covering this throughout the time from the murders in 2017 till now. Russ, you were just in that courtroom where we were expecting anywhere from 2 to 3 hours of a hearing to discuss several motions, among them being what happened there on social media with that leak. But now we're done with this court hearing today. What happened inside, and what are you hearing is happening next?
Well, first we started getting inklings as this started to develop through the day here at the Allen County Courthouse in Fort Wayne. At 10 o'clock this morning, an attorney, David Hennessy from Indianapolis, a noted defense attorney, entered a hearing. He also entered an appearance in the system that he would be representing Andrew Baldwin, the defense attorney at the center of this leak controversy. As we reported earlier today, that motion and that filing by Hennessy said that Andrew Baldwin was, in his words, snookered and abused by an ex-employee who got access to the various documents in evidence and then leaked them to some social media Delphi case followers. Then as the afternoon progressed and we were back upstairs, we were waiting for this court hearing to begin at 2 o'clock. I recognized Hennessy, and I've covered him for many years. He was waiting outside the courtroom. We all filed in there at about 1 o'clock, and then as we clicked closer to 2 o'clock, at 1:50 p.m., Doug Carter, the Indiana State Police Superintendent, and Tony Liggett, the Carroll County Sheriff, who was the lead investigator on this case, were shown into the room. And it was at about that time that we saw the attorneys in the back hallways obviously going back and forth from Judge Gull's chambers to a holding area where Richard Allen was being held back there after he was brought here from the Westville Correctional Facility this afternoon. Sitting right in front of me and Fox 59's Max Lewis were Allen's wife and one of her associates. And at one point, Bradley Rozzi, the other defense attorney, came out, began speaking with the ladies, took them out of the courtroom. I took that at that moment to mean that this case was running off the rails, that they were advising these two ladies of a decision that had been made. So finally, at 2:29 p.m., Judge Gull comes into the courtroom a half hour later than anticipated. It was significant that the defense team and Allen were not represented in the courtroom, and that rather Carroll County Prosecutor Nicholas McLeland was there. And then the announcement was made, which you monitored back at the station, which we have not yet broadcast that actual announcement yet, that she had accepted Baldwin's a decision to withdraw from the case, and she said, for that matter, his co-counsel Bradley Rozzi is also going to withdraw from the case in the next couple days. Since Mr. Allen does not have counsel right now, he does not have attorneys, there's no reason for this hearing this afternoon. He is being shipped back to Westville Correctional Facility where he awaits in pretrial detention. Meanwhile, as you made mention with the judge there on the set, that coming up we are still going to have a hearing in Carroll County on October 31st, where the judge at that time will announce the new team that is going to defend Richard Allen in court, and she will set new court dates because obviously we cannot go forward with this trial on January 8th.
Moving forward, there's so many key critical dates that are upcoming. So you mentioned that October 31st hearing, but on November 1st, that was the previous deadline set by now his former attorneys for the prosecution to deliver all of their discovery, their evidence in this case. So what does that now do moving forward as we seem like the January trial may still happen? How does that impact everything if your new attorneys get everything for discovery just a day after they've been on the case?
Well, it was stipulated last week that the prosecutor, Nicholas McLeland of Carroll County, said, yeah, I can agree. Let's set a November 1st deadline. I can give you everything that we've got in our possession. Now, the judge did mention that, so now going forward, one, the current defense team, which said in its pleading this morning, hey, now all of our evidence is locked up behind lock and key in a locked room and in storage cabinets so nobody else can get to it anymore. Two, she mentioned that she directed that the defense team to turn over all the evidence it has received from the state in discovery back over to, I'm assuming, the state, which would be the prosecutor's office. Prosecutor's office holds on to that. When the new team comes on October 31st, that's when they'll be publicly named. Perhaps, I'm assuming right now, the judge has even got her feelers out, whether it's to the Supreme Court or to the Public Defender's Council, trying to find the next set of public defenders for Richard Allen. Then when those folks are officially named to the case, then that whole discovery process starts all over again. The upside to that is the Carroll County prosecutor and the past defense team have had a whole year to gather up that evidence, to file it, to make it so it's usable, so it can be read, so it can be documented and looked at. And that will be sitting literally probably in the Carroll County prosecutor's office. What's today? Thursday. I would say probably this weekend you're going to see a lot of boxes come up from Franklin and Logansport and headed back to the prosecutor's office, and that's where it will sit until it is turned over to the new defense team.
A lot of complications arising from this news today. Russ, you were there in the courtroom when we learned of these rather stunning developments. What was the mood there in the courtroom? You mentioned Allen's family being there, but also certainly everyone's thoughts with Abby and Libby's families and everything they've been through throughout the course of this entire proceeding since the murders back in 2017. Any reaction yet? What was the mood there in the courtroom when this was announced?
I can tell you the courtroom was full. About a quarter of it had family members from Libby and Abby's families, only a couple people representing the Allen side of the defense in this. But most of the courtroom was full with press, social media, and other observers. And of course, there was an audible gasp from many of the social media folks as they grasped the significance of what the judge was saying from the bench. Those of us who have covered this case so long could tell by just watching the back hallway, by watching the time pass on the clock, by understanding what we knew was going on behind the scenes, that as the half hour between 2 and 2:30 clicked on, seeing the people who were in the courtroom, and more significantly, the people who were not in the courtroom or those who were leaving the courtroom, I had a pretty good idea of the type of conversations that were going on. So while this certainly was stunning news, it was not unexpected that what needed to be weighed in the judge's mind as she looked at this, and of course you gotta understand, she only became aware of this leak a little over a week ago, and of course we broke the news along with the Murder Sheet podcasters over the weekend. So since she became aware of this leak just a week ago, she had to have some time to weigh this. She also did not get the motion filed by Andrew Baldwin's attorney, David Hennessy, until 10 o'clock this morning. And in that motion, he said, to pull my client, Baldwin, off this case now would be detrimental to the case. It would be detrimental to Richard Allen's rights. Richard Allen and Baldwin have established a rapport and a partnership in this, so this will be hard on his rights. However, what the judge needed to take into consideration was, today was the third time she had to deal with this defense team when it came down to issues of either public pronouncements, gag order, or the leak of confidential information. There was a previous leak, which was accidental, kind of literally a slip on a computer sending an email last April. So she's had to deal with this now 3 times. And also, it would make sense in the back of the judge's mind, if she doesn't solve this problem with this defense team now, and Richard Allen becomes convicted, appeal issue number 1 for his appeals attorneys at the appellate court is going to be, Your Honors, the trial judge knew 3 times that this defense team was playing sloppy with the rules and playing sloppy with the evidence, and now we wonder if they were compromised when they defended our client. That would, of course, only be a factor if he is convicted, and we are a long way from even hearing that case now.
Even longer than we were earlier. Russ, we do have some video turned around from earlier that we can show now as Judge Fran Gull entered the courtroom there today in Allen County, as we've said, much later, about a half hour later than scheduled, and made that stunning announcement that the attorneys for Richard Allen were withdrawing from the case. Here's some of that now.
We've had an unexpected turn of events, ladies and gentlemen. Earlier this afternoon, the defense attorneys have withdrawn their representation of Mr. Allen.
And you know, so much of this case has been unprecedented. Even having cameras there in the courtroom for that moment in itself, obviously a 30-minute delay there is what our media agreed to here. But seeing that moment, seeing what's happening now, where essentially we have delayed everything here because defense counsel will no longer be representing Mr. Allen. So I do want to bring in our judge who's here giving us some analysis with this. And it ties back to something that Russ mentioned earlier, the opportunity at all for a mistrial because of what's going on here. So for those of you who are just joining us now, Richard Allen no longer will be represented by the public defenders that were assigned to him. That is tied to, in part, possibly some of that leak that happened on social media with the evidence. So now that they are no longer on his team, the judge will have to appoint new public defenders for him. But at any point, does it leave the opportunity for Allen to claim that there was ineffective counsel and that this whole case has not been fair to him?
I think that it lessens it going forward now with different counsel, because the actual effectiveness of counsel is going to matter in terms of trial. Did you get a fair trial or did you not get a fair trial? And we're not at trial yet. I think the real detriment to Mr. Allen is he's going to have to wait, as of course the families of Abby and Libby are going to have to wait now too. And there's a saying of justice delayed is justice denied, but I think it's I think this is a case of lesser of two evils. What's the best way to go forward? And I think that Mr. Allen's attorneys acknowledged that as well, is there were going to be those questions going forward no matter what. And I think that they probably assume this is the best way to resolve that for everyone, and let's get it out of the way now rather than waiting any further.
You've no doubt dealt with cases that have involved a change of counsel. Realistically, how much of a delay does that typically involve in terms of the entire trial schedule moving forward?
It all depends on the nature of the case. The more complex the case, the more
this is certainly a
voluminous the
complicated
evidence,
case, right.
the longer you're going to have a delay in order for new counsel to get up to speed. And that could be fairly significant, but I think the best judge of that will be when new counsel's appointed. They'll take a first look at what they've got to digest in terms of the evidence that's presented, and they'll probably tell the judge this is how long we're going to need to get ready to try this case.
All right, Judge Stan Henke, thank you so much for being with us today for this very big
Thank you.
breaking news in the Delphi case. Again, Richard Allen's attorneys now withdrawn from the case. He will now have new defense counsel. We don't know exactly how long that will back things up, but we know he's scheduled to be in court again on October 31st.
In the meantime, we have live coverage right now for you. We'll continue to do so here online at fox59.com, and live reports from both Russ McQuaid and Max Lewis from Allen County, from that courtroom. Find that first at 4. Thanks for joining us here for that breaking news. We send you back to your program.